Morning, everyone. Welcome back to the backyard at Blasnaheran. It's a super weekend and great to see such a big crowd this morning. Obviously, you were all very sensible last night. Good to see you all. What we have this morning is the session with the buyers, and we've got a really interesting selection of buyers, and we'll do some introductions in a minute. My name is Malachy O'Connor. I'm a freelance consultant in the food industry. I do lots of work on strategy for companies and commercial skills training, like sales training and negotiation skills training. My background is working for retailers as a buyer and a marketing director. And I've had the pleasure of working with at least half of the folks here. So this morning then, we've got Anya Dowling from Avoca, Barra McFeely from Tesco, Adam Breen from Holland & Barrett, and Derek Gallagher from Dunnes Stores, and the Simply Better division within Dunnes Stores specifically. So we've got, from a grocery point of view, it's nearly half of the Irish marketplace. And you've got a mixture of kind of high-end and premium. You've got health stores and big multiples, international and local and Irish. So first thing I'm going to do is, because I've got a couple of questions to ask you generally for the benefit of the crowd, and we'll have time for a few questions from the audience at the end as well. But generally, I'll ask a question and just go down and give everybody a chance to say their bit. So the first thing then, if you could just do a quick introduction to yourself and tell us a wee bit about the company you're working for. So, Anya.
So my name's Anya Dowling and I'm the head of food buying for Avoca. So I'm sure many of you know Avoca is an Irish company that has 13 stores throughout Ireland and Northern Ireland. We have both food retail, restaurants, cafes and textiles. And our heritage is that we're a 300-year-old company, started with hand loom throws and blankets, which we still do in Avoca Mill in Wicklow, which is we're still very much tied to that heritage. But we're also very famous for our food, both in our restaurants and in our food hall, which we, all of our chefs make all our Avoca food. And then we have a food hall, which we have a range of suppliers from Ireland and throughout Europe and the world.
And Anya, sorry, just before we go on to Barra, I would know Avoca more as a food, because I wouldn't be interested in the clothes. How much of how does it split?
It splits 60% food, 40% retail.
Okay,
but but we would have a huge following, obviously, from the mill point of view, and it's a big tourist draw. And like we do still, as I say, have weavers and looms in the Avoca Mill, and all of our throws and textiles are made down there. So that's a big part of our heritage. But food is obviously something that we're, that you would only know us for, probably.
Yeah, but the craft credentials are across.
Are across both. Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. Yeah, thanks for that. And 13 stores. I didn't know that.
13 stores. Yeah.
Barra.
Yes, I'm Barra McFeely, Tesco Ireland's supplier development manager. Tesco have 177 stores and are a strong supporter of Irish business. We have over 500 Irish suppliers, 100 of whom would be smaller artisan-type suppliers. My own background personally is I started off as an artisan food producer myself. I manufactured Dunbarra cheese in the Spade Enterprise Centre in Dublin there from 95 to 99. And I learned the hard way about all the challenges that a producer has. I thought it was as simple as producing the product and it would all flow. I had to get the distributors to take on the product, then I had to get the retailers to take on the product, and the final hurdle was to get the consumer to pick the product up. So I then sold that business as a going concern. It's still on the go. And I joined Superquinn. So I was there for 9 years, involved in fresh food buying, and now I've been in Tesco for the last 13 years. So delighted here to meet you all today.
Very good. Barra, thanks for that. Adam.
Yeah, so I'm Adam Breen. I'm the category manager for Ireland for Holland & Barrett. Basically, within food, our journey kind of only started a year ago. We've always had kind of the fruit, nuts and seeds aspect, but going a bit more in depth to that. We've now last year we developed a range around 500 own label SKUs, all about with benefits, with plant points, that you knew whatever you picked up on shelf, it was kind of the best version that you could get that would give a bit back to your health. So that's been a long journey this year, making that work. Some things didn't work, and we're reviewing all that in December with another launch of 300 SKUs. So at the minute, lots of excitement within the food section, because we used to just be vitamins and that was kind of it. And that was my mindset of Holland Bar before I joined. And food is now going up to around 20% of our total sales.
Wow.
From being very single digits. So it's it's going really well.
So how many stores do you have now? in Ireland?
67 in the south, 22 in the north at the minute. Forever growing, I guess. But
Yeah, and 20% of that, the sales is in food.
food.
The 500 food lines that you launched, there's 300 more coming in, but are you kicking out 300 to make space? Or
No. So there will be an incremental of, it's still up in the air slightly, but incremental of around 180, and then the other ones are run-in, run-outs.
Yeah.
Some things that just didn't work, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And for all of the small food producers that are tuning in this morning, this is category management. It's kicking out the dogs and bringing in something new to take its space and see if you can make that shelf work a bit harder. Adam, thanks for that. And Derek.
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name's Derek Gallagher. I'm working with Dunn's Stores, and I head up the Simply Better brand for Dunn's. So I'm with Dunn's over 24 years. My background has always been in food. I'm a butcher by trade, farming background. So I've been on the journey of food for a good many years. So I'm with the Simply Better element I took over a month before COVID, which was perfect timing for any new job. So I suppose, what do we do within Simply Better? Well, we're very much a food and beverage brand. The brand Simply Better covers 13 of the 20 food departments and non-food departments within Dunn's. So it's quite a diverse route, and I suppose some people might say, well, if you take a dairy department and look down the lane, we're in multiple areas of that. So what do? We seek out producers. We work with producers and we take them on the journey from the start. So we have to try and find. We don't necessarily go and just take a brand and put it on. We got to go from the beginning, work with the producer, work on the journey of taking them from ingredients, packaging, how do you get onto the shelf, and then we've a team of nearly 16 people behind us. And we take them on the journey. So there's an element of people who may be just a one family, one member, and then we have others where there's a medium size. So there is no textbook within Simply Better. It's trying to find good producers who have a passion for what we're doing. And we're very clear on our back of what is Simply Better. We don't allow any artificial flavours, colours, preservatives. We're very clear, clean deck. But it's about the food, it's about restaurant quality food, and it's about working with the producer to give them the opportunity to come in to Dunn's. And it doesn't, whilst we have over 100 shops, it doesn't have to be 100 shops. It can be a small amount of shops. In some instances, we have one lady who does our hummus, and she's only in about 30 odd stores because she's very clear. She only wants to do so much. It's part of her lifestyle, and we're very happy with that. So, yeah, it's been an exciting couple of years within Simply Better. We've over 1,300 products now on shelf, and that will continue to grow. So we are very much a hands-on. We're very much a help and support there. So look, that's what I do, and yesterday was for me, it was like having a meeting of so many of our producers who are down here, and really for us it's about trying to help producers, and because it is tough out there, but that's what I do. So and thank you for all coming out today in this fantastic weather. Well, listen, that's it.
Good stuff. Thanks for that, Derek. So the first kind of topic we're going to get stuck into, I'd really like to know what are the hot topics within your business right now, specifically within your business, because if you kind of talk openly in the market to manufacturers and retailers, they'll say labour availability, we're at full employment, getting staff is a challenge, managing costs because like inflation has probably peaked, but it doesn't seem to be going down in terms of costs. Sustainability is a big topic that we touched on yesterday. Digital transformation, people are talking about a lot. developing the online business as well. So, I mean, if you talk to people generally, they're the kind of big things that are being talked about. But within your business and within your unique business and your unique perspective, I'd love to know what the big topics are for each of you. What's the things that are kind of keeping you busy and yeah. So I'll come to you first.
Yeah, sure. I suppose more on a micro level within Avoca, we are really focusing on change at the moment. So I'm actually with Avoca only for the last 6 months. I previously worked in Super Quinn and Duns in many places over the years. But yeah, so I'm just in the job 6 months, and we're really focusing on innovation and newness in the business and trying to bring something different to our customers. So over the next couple of months, we're launching over 100 products, 14 new brands. We've lots of new suppliers. So really, it's about trying to see what's out there that's different to other people, trying to differentiate ourselves, and trying to see what, in a variety and kind of delight and surprise we can bring to customers. So, I mean, I think in this day and age, it's quite difficult to be different. So we're really trying to get out there and talk to different suppliers and visit different markets and see what we can bring to the table.
Yeah. So I imagine then for a small, medium or artisan food and drink producer in Ireland, that's a golden opportunity.
Absolutely, yeah.
The kind of things that may
100%.
not be suitable for mass market.
Exactly.
You want them.
13 stores is a nice number of stores. It's not huge, so it's manageable for many suppliers. And like I say, we're really open to new suppliers. I think for a while it was, it's a challenge to take on lots of newness, and sometimes you kind of have to, like from a category management point of view, park things. But at the moment, we are definitely open to taking on new suppliers and new products. So it's an exciting time to be there. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. So innovation, change.
Innovation. Yeah, exactly.
That's the hot topic in
absolutely. Yeah.
Good stuff. And Barra, in Tesco, what's keeping you busy?
Yeah, well, look, there's always hot topics, and it's been changing over the last few years with Brexit and all that. But the hot topic at the moment, it's nothing new. It's a hot topic for all of us, and I suppose it's growth. And it's very much around filling gaps within our own range. I mean, at face value, you'd say, okay, Tesco, multinational retailer, everything will be thought through, every gap will be closed. But it's absolutely amazing how many gaps there are. And often these gaps, if you take the classic principle of good, better, best, often the best isn't filled at all, and often that's the opportunity for artisan producers in Ireland to come in with their brand and fill that gap for us. And of course, here in Dingle this weekend, we have the most amazing bunch of entrepreneurs who are creating gaps, who are coming up with new trends and products that people never thought of before. Some mind-blowing products, and retailers are now sitting up saying, "Hold on, now there's something going on here. I never tasted a product like that before. I can't compare it to anything, but it tastes absolutely amazing." And then we have to go back to the office and say, "Well, how are we going to create space for this? We need more space." So in some categories, it's the food producers who are setting the trend. Maybe they're reacting to trends far away in other sides of the planet, but there's a fantastic energy. So at a personal level, my role is very much to facilitate the interaction between the buyers and the producers. And I really enjoy meeting producers in a store, understanding where the product sits. Walk the whole store. There's 4 or 5 places this could sit. Where's it going to sit best? Look at the price position and all that good stuff. And I always encourage a focus on starting off in a smaller number of stores, even 10, 20. Learn the ropes, get the rate of sale in a good place in that small number of stores, and then roll the product out.
So, Barra, that's really interesting. In terms of generating growth and filling gaps, I would always have said that if you want to generate growth as a business, availability is the first thing to focus on.
Absolutely.
Because it's never as good as you think it is.
Absolutely.
Because you can never see all of your shops every hour of every day, etc. But what are the problems that you're facing? Is this all kind of still post-Brexit supply chain stuff, or what's creating those gaps? When we say gaps, we mean basically where there should be a product, but there isn't.
Yeah, well, the gaps were we're all just focused on doing what we're doing, and we completely miss the big picture that within the range there are gaps that are there. Premium in particular at the premium space, where we're very good at having the entry level
So what
covered.
you said good, better, best. The
Yeah.
entry level is the cheapest product on display. Better is the mid-range that everybody's happy with, and best is the most premium product.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
You're saying that best product is missing
often
in some cases.
in some cases, and that does definitely create an opportunity for Irish artists and producers, because that's the very space they want to be. Often the premium end of the market, and the volumes are within their capacity, and there's a good. But I mean, there's obviously other challenges where you have the product in range, but it's not on the shelf. And that could be related to, operational procedures, or it could be related to lengthy supply chains, product coming in from off the island. So most definitely over the last 4 years, there's been an enormous focus on sourcing product locally. And the quality of product has improved significantly, the shelf life of it, the availability of it, and the products are much more attuned to the Irish palate.
Yeah. I think there's two good examples I can think of where you've switched from a perfectly good UK-based supplier to a local Irish supplier and got all of those benefits. I think you switched a lot of your ready meals over, didn't you?
We did.
And then, is sushi, did that move over as well?
Yeah, sushi, pizza, many categories, and the quality of the Irish produce is fantastic. So, there's opportunities there for large-scale Irish manufacturers, but also for small-scale Irish manufacturers.
And I suppose for a producer then who would normally approach a big retailer to some extent in awe, kind of saying it would be really exciting to be on listed with you and on the shelves in Tesco or any of the big retailers, but then they forget the value that they're adding, and because they're so appreciative of the listing. But in this case, the value that they're adding is an additional 2 days of shelf life, because it doesn't have to come across from the UK.
Yeah.
A better quality product, lower food waste, which talks directly to commercial benefits, but also to your sustainability strategy.
Absolutely.
So that would give you the confidence as a producer to say, actually, I'm really making a difference to your business. Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah. And not to forget that. That's brilliant, Barra. Adam, what's the hot topics for you?
Non-exports. So being a UK mainly based company, a lot of our products are either shipped into the UK, which is where our main depot is, and then gets shipped to our RTS depot in Kildare. And we've a big issue with non-GB organics, which is when an organic product comes into the UK, you then can't take it out. As well as non-EU addresses. We're now in an issue of UK drink suppliers not having DRS compliancy or tethered cap compliancy. And we're after bringing in, basically to fix those gaps. Ireland has been amazing in terms of what we actually have to offer. So those 500 SKUs I was talking about, Ireland actually only got around 350, 360 of them. Gaps we filled so far is around 100 SKUs, split between 17 local suppliers, which is great. So our main issue is continue to fix those gaps. And it's not just about fixing, it's also about flexing. So the SKUs that, as kind of Barra was saying, that we haven't seen in the UK that are kind of new trends, bringing them in and seeing where they fit. So, that's what's kind of keeping me up at night.
Yeah. And so you obviously then have a shopping list of products that you want, but you can't get currently, but you're working on, yeah?
Exactly.
So what is there, about 100 or 200 products there?
Well, so we've filled 100. There's around 40 new SKUs in the pipeline going through our lovely systems. And then post that, I want to change even the well-performing products that are exportable into UK. I'd rather see an Irish product there. And the customers rather see an Irish product there, because what we've seen the insights from cross-category shopping. And since we've brought in the local range, people are shopping local range and then exploring our VHMS, our sports categories, our beauty categories, more than any other range in the food. So even though it's only a it's only around 6% of the business at the minute, the food business. It's generating more customers for ourselves to shop around the store. So it's more than just looking at the sales and seeing that, okay, it may not be performing to your top seller, but what it's doing in the background of gathering those sales for the other SKUs that we have from the UK is really amazing.
It's really interesting how the local range, the new Irish products that are coming in, are kind of like a key that's unlocking. They're getting a shopper in who's happy with that product, and then they're expanding the repertoire and shopping into the other categories in your store.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like our colleagues in stores, which are fantastic and they're really well trained, they get so excited about local range. So we've had a few suppliers do some training on their specific products, give them samples, and they can't talk about the product enough to the customer and recommend it, which is great for the supplier as well. So, it's a challenge, but it's one that we're definitely embracing.
Yeah, very good, very good. And for any manufacturer to know that something that they can make is on your hit list, how would they know? Is that just a... Because you're probably inundated with emails from people selling stuff, but...
Yeah, aren't we all? Like I like to think I'm very good at going back to those emails, reaching out to people on LinkedIn. I'm not afraid to do when I see the products. Like I'm finding a lot of products just scrolling through Instagram and just seeing that, oh, this is new. Drop them a message, or obviously you know people in the industry and people talk to you, and it's all about that connection, and these kind of events are absolutely vital for that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we can be quite hard to get as a buyer. We can be quite hard to find. But we're definitely there.
Very good, very good. Derek, what are the hot topics for you?
Well, at the moment we are just finalising Christmas. That unfortunately that's the only show in town at the moment. So that will be that's all part and so we've a lot of the planning has gone into that since the 16th of January this year, and then July, and now we're on the final hurdle. So that will be all in situ. That's going, and we move on then to the next phase, which is we bring 25 producers to the Ideal Home Exhibition up in the RDS, and we do that twice a year. So over the course of the year, we have 50 odd producers that will. People over 30,000 people will get exposure to products. So for us, it will be planning that into 25. And then once that's on this 18th, 19th, 20th of October. And then from there, we move on to re-looking at the areas where, I suppose, where we do have gaps. And as it's when you take the 13 departments, they're ambient and they're chilled, and they're also in the beverage side of it. So we will look at not only what is performing within the business, but then we'll have networked over the course of the year. We're attending all the major events. We'll be up the north in Invest&I to see what's going in Northern Ireland, and no different than the likes of down here this week, where we've already met a lot of producers. So we're going to follow that through. And then we will start to look at how do we take those forward and talk people through the journey and be realistic with that of what that will look in 25. We'll then go back and we'll look at the producers that we have on board, and we will then go back and look at see how do we help them more, and what can we do from a packaging point of view, because while we talk about sustainability, sometimes the knowledge of where can I get a better packaging format, or where could I get a product without a clean ingredient, where they may not understand. So, that it's trying to go back and look at all those. So, while we might have a technical system, it does give us a lot of information. So we'll circle the wagon again and look at different areas that we might say, well, listen, look, we need to help them here. And so, look, it's for me, for the team and for Dunn's, it's about how do we bring on producers. Like we've taken we're nearly over 100 Irish producers, which are very much producing under Simply Better brand. It's not that we support a vast array, because it's not just Simply Better. We've a Dunn Stores brand, and there's a branded offering within Dunn Stores as well. So it's not that I'm a really from a Simply Better point of view. It's over 100 producers. So that's been a massive move forward, and we'll continue to do that and see how do we do it. So next year, 25 will be, please God, another great year. We'll have, we've Nevin on board who's been there for many years now, supporting us and working with producers. Brian McDermott works with us as well, and Brian, as I would always say, Brian helps us take the producers from the cradle to the store. He interlinks with all of the different aspects of how you get from there to there, and that can be daunting for people, So and then we work with the some of the other aspects of it from the marketing point of view, and the leaflets and bringing recipe content, and all of those add to the experience, and that all helps. So so it's a fun a packed year to come, I'm sure.
Yeah, but sounds like a lot of fun though. Yeah.
Oh, love it.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, very good.
That's it. This is what it's all about.
Yeah,
and down here is this. Yeah, brilliant.
So one more question before we ask you for some. The last question I'm going to ask you is like, what point of advice would you give to suppliers? But before we just get to that quickly, I want to get a feel for what product trends you're seeing coming through at the moment, because you're in a blessed position of being right next to the shopper. Mm-hmm. You can see what they're doing before anybody else can. Yeah. Before the manufacturer can, before Kantar or anybody doing market research can. So what product trends are you seeing coming through, Anya?
I think big focus on food to go. So just, in terms of lunchtime trend and smaller portions, and I think customers being more prepared to pay a higher price for the convenience of, lunch pots, breakfast pots. That's a big trend that we're seeing, and we're trying to focus development on.
Okay, very good. Farah?
Yeah, a big trend is convenience. That's been a trend for a long time, and it continues to grow. So that's where the market is going.
And that talks directly to the fact that we're at full employment and people are busy and
on the go.
And everybody needs solutions.
Yeah. And I think there's a great openness amongst customers for innovation and new product types you would never have thought of before. Yeah. And there's quite a bit of that down at Bloss this weekend, and customers are receptive to that.
Mm. Yeah, very good. Adam, what trends?
Within more like product specific, it'd be mushrooms. Really hot trend at the minute. Has really skyrocketed in terms of sales. Yeah. Also sea moss, which we have a lot of here, which we don't have too much in store, to be honest. But those two areas are.
What's the story with mushrooms and sea moss?
Well, mushrooms, people are seeing them as, so like rashi would be for like to chill, to relax you, and then lion's mane be a bit more focus.
So these are like mushrooms as functional foods?
Yes, yeah. So it's always functional foods with us, but it's in particular, mushrooms are genuinely kind of skyrocketing. You'll see a few brands flowing into us, local as well, over the next few months that are in line with these. Can't say yet, but you'll see.
We'll watch out. And sea moss, what's the story there? What's the
sea moss, it's, some people here would be better to say than myself. But again, all the minerals, the natural aspect of what it can do for your gut. Gut health is obviously a big one. So people, again, catching on to that trend. It was CBD probably 4 or 5 months ago. It's kind of now flowing into those categories.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. And Derek, what big product trends are you seeing?
Well, if you start off with ambient food, I would say that people are looking for cleaner deck ingredient products. People are looking for something a little bit different. They're looking to as we dine at home more than dining out, which is kind of a buzzword. People are looking to recreate that experience at home. So there's very much about that restaurant food at home. If you're in the beverage area, cold, it's about gut health. It's about kombuchas. It's about that lifestyle drinks versus the carbonated beverage. If you're in hot, it's about single estate coffee versus blend. If people want to go, because we're all traveling, people are a younger generation traveling an awful lot more now. So they've exposure to an awful lot more food, and they want to get a little bit of that now at home. So there isn't certainly a demand for recreating those experiences from abroad. If you're in dairy, gut health, it's kefir, it's desserts. People want, they're very much looking at what's inside a lot of the desserts. That is, because we want health is a big challenge, and certainly trying to clean and trying to trust the food that we're eating and consuming. If you move into the likes of other areas, confectionery, again, it's really from there we see snacks. We are seeing really quality in chocolate. So there's, without labour, within each category there is definitely different trends. But overall, I think the within food, it's recreating what you are getting at home and how do I do it, and have we got that, all the ingredients to recreate that dish. And then the other side of it is how to make it easier for them. Yeah. People want to know how to do it. I know years ago people, there was scratch cooking and all that. People are coming back to making their own, and they want to experiment. So it's a difficult question because so many categories have very different things going on.
Yeah. Well, just listen to all of you. What I've kind of picked out is convenience, however that may kind of turn up. It could be food to go, or it could be meal ingredients and solutions, etc. So convenience, health, but again, health can be expressed in different ways. It could be the gut microbiome or clean ingredients lists, etc. So convenience and health were the two that kind of really jumped out to me there. And then provenance and premium and stories and having exciting, interesting foods that have something behind them. Yeah. They're the kind of three things that really jump out for me. So listen, we're going to wrap up now in a minute or so. Quick down the panel here. Any kind of single point of advice for suppliers from the perspective of you and your business then, Anya?
I would just say get in touch. Like, it was yesterday was brilliant to get out, and buyers don't get out very often to meet suppliers, so to have it all in one day was amazing. And we met some of our existing suppliers and some suppliers that I really had wanted to meet and met, and then some suppliers I'd never even heard of and met, which was fantastic. And we've seen a fit with them already. But just get in touch with us, I would say, is my main message. And look in our stores and see what you can bring us that's different. So you've done a bit of research in advance of getting in touch, because sometimes, that becomes the second step, whereas if you've done it in advance, it's easier to have the communication when you make the first contact. So, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Barra?
Yeah, don't be afraid to reach out. Dealing with a multiple retailer doesn't mean you're going to be in hundreds of stores. It could be 10 stores, 20 stores. It could be well within the scope of even the smallest supplier. And it is a great opportunity, obviously, for a retailer to have these great products on our shelves, and it's a great opportunity for the producer to understand what it is to enter into that kind of a market, which has potentially great opportunity.
Good stuff. Adam?
Yeah. From what we've seen, and a lot of products we've brought in, suppliers haven't actually known what the benefits of their product are from a health perspective.
Yeah.
Which, when they walk around our store, they'd see a product and be like, I'm surprised to see that here. But they don't understand that, that's really high in omega-3, that's really high in iron, high in protein, low in calories, all the kind of key USPs that we're looking for. So, very similar. Have a look around our store, see where you think you can find, and you might be surprised in terms of what you actually see in stores. I had a conversation there yesterday, and I was looking at the product, and I was like, this is only 47 calories. Generally, that product is around 300. I was like, why don't you call that out? It wasn't the supplier's USP. It's not what they wanted to sell. But if we can throw a sticker or something on the product to show our customer, it's there's gaps there that I think some suppliers can definitely make the most of.
Just to be aware of their own unique selling points. Yeah.
Exactly.
Very good. Very good. Derek?
I suppose, look, I suppose to approach sometimes a retailer can be daunting and can be, how do I do it? And I suppose, look again, sometimes it's about just having the confidence in what you are doing, and then we have the resource to be able to bring it to another level and to help with that. So, it's more, look, and sometimes when people do approach us and it may not be right at this time and we may find some challenges, but what we always say is that there's always another time. There's always another time that we can, and we'll not only will we not say, well, listen, good luck and goodbye. We'll kind of help you and say, listen, look, you need to kind of focus on A or B, or listen, the packaging format does not work, because that's where I suppose some people fall foul, is that no different than, any of the multiple retailer, space is king. And, sometimes you have some people would feel that I'll go, and it's generally down to economies of scale, because they'll find a bigger bag, and the bigger bag is because it's available easier. But then you're going into a crowded area, and when we sometimes will see it, we say, crikey, how are you going to get that into an area where every format is kind of in a smaller size? So, there are sometimes challenges, because sometimes you find that some people have just invested in 40,000 bags, and it's not, you're kind of there. So,
You would just wish that they had a chat to you before.
Yeah, and it's that, and I think the point made by Anya is look at the section, look at the section, because supermarkets, no matter its spaces, that's what is there. And most are branded. There will be branded offerings, and then there's private label offerings, and you're very much all are trying to cater for everybody within that area. So, yeah, it can be challenging. But look, I suppose just bringing it back to, we can give you the advice, we can tell you, and then maybe tomorrow will be another day.
Yeah,
that's where
good stuff.
Yep.
Guys, that was brilliant. Thanks very much. Do we have time for any questions? Of course. Yeah.
Oh, one
Don't know.
Yeah. Good morning. I think I talked to most of you yesterday, and it was great. And I have a question, and it's more like to start a conversation, because we were taught to start a conversation. And this is not a question what you might be able to say yes or no to. Okay. So I'd like to go back onto trends and probably serving the customer, the consumer a little bit better. So I think there's a big trend out there, and you all agree on reading labels. So which obviously goes down into, we are looking for cleaner ingredients, we are looking for food as medicine, and we don't want to eat food, so we have to take the medication. So is there a way that retailers can help producers to stand out in the crowd when you create a product which might be labeled as premium, or like similar to Simply Better? So the customer doesn't have to go around and read the label. Is there a space? Because there's many of us here today, or enter this, who feel like our product, it's nothing to do with the awards, but there's no category for many products out there. Many didn't enter because they don't feel like they would be judged to their full potential, just judged on taste, when nobody looks at the ingredients. So is there a way you think a retailer could help the supplier to stand out when there is clean, when there is health, when there is nutritious ingredients, when it has loads of health benefits? So when I go into a health aisle, I don't have to start reading labels to make sure it is actually healthy, it is actually serving me, or I'm eating processed food and preservatives and all fillers and that.
Can I answer that? Okay, so there's two parts we've got to be very, very careful on, okay? As a retailer, we are governed by legislation. And there is perceived health benefits and there's actual health benefits. And words can mean one thing and portray another. And we have to be very careful because we are all audited by the Food Authority. So, that is one aspect that we do have to just be mindful of. Okay, so from an artisan producer, you may be able to make a statement, but from a retailer, we are not. We have to be very, very transparent and very. So we will watch, and we have certain things we can say and certain things we wouldn't be able to say. With regard to standing out in the crowd, that is the biggest challenge for everybody. Where do you put small producers? But I suppose I'll speak specifically for Simply Better. We will always call out who the producer is and work with the producer to try and highlight. And it's generally through social media, through taste, etc., to try and make people aware of it. It's not something that you can just turn on a switch and it just goes from there to there. It does take time. And it can take a couple of years to get there, but trends don't happen overnight. Trends sometimes begin. And, if you take food, it can be slow in some instances, but you've just got to keep being persistent on it. And people, no matter how many times you see it and how many times, if we keep talking, people will buy into it and people will understand and grow. But it doesn't happen overnight.
I would say there's another piece which is on your product. You have to consider the label design or the packaging design, because if you've got features that you don't want somebody to have to read the small print on the back, then that's down to your label design on the front. If there's one or two or three things that really matter, then you have to flash them or make them stand out, and get a designer who can optimize those few messages, because you always have limited space and there's loads of things you'd love to say. So it's hard. You just have to prioritize and use your own packaging design to do that.
Okay.
Other questions? So you've got about 50% of the food industry from retail point of view.
So me again. So another question there, and so if I approach any of you, does it matter if I go to Tesco, and does it matter will it affect my position or your position talking to me if I'm in Avoca or if I'm in Holland and Barrett or if I'm in Duns, if I have a Simply Better range in Duns? Would that matter to you, or it's to everyone? Does it matter?
No.
Do we have to keep quiet about it?
No. No, because if one, we're not allowed to do that. Two, if we were to do that, and let's say you were just in Holland and Barrett and you wanted to expand, there's only so much I can offer you for expansion, whereas these guys have all the space and they've more of a footfall. So you have to understand as a retailer that you have to share the products. Every majority of retailers have different key focuses in terms of what they're doing and what their key focuses are, and products will fall into those. So Holland and Barrett, all about health, all about local in Ireland. Duns might be just Simply Better and thinking about meats and so on and so forth. So no, would be my answer. I don't know about anyone.
Be the same.
I think you'll find that producers will, because there's room for both.
Yeah.
And there will always be customers who will only want to buy the brand and support the brand, and then there'll be other people who will say, no, I'm happy with that retailer's brand, whatever. So generally you will have, and it is done successfully. Like you'll have some producers who will produce their own brand, flavour range for their own brand, and then they may do, maybe for, say, Simply Better, they'll do a bespoke flavour profile for Simply Better. And we both work and we all trade within each other. So I think, it's quite an open, it works.
Yeah, and just to add that, it's almost advantageous if you're a producer and you can say to a supermarket buyer, well, I'm selling here, I'm selling there, I've got a rate of sale of 10 units per store per week. That de-risks it from the buyer's perspective, is they know there's a market for the product.
Yeah, and like we understand, I think for smaller producers, if you go with a distributor, it's not feasible to be exclusive to people when their volume isn't there. So absolutely, I think everyone likes to have something point of difference. So if there's an element of, like you said, a different, like an own label product that can add something different, or an element of exclusivity around something, that's great. But we absolutely appreciate that we're open to them.
It's not to say you won't come across a buyer who. At some stage, I've heard plenty of stories where suppliers are getting a little bit of heat about supplying a similar product somewhere else, etc. But it's not allowed. It's anti-competitive to do that. And there's a reality check required, which is that if you're going to scale your business, which all of you presumably want to, then you have to. It's a small island. There only is like 5 million people in the south, so you have to deal with all of the different retailers and chains to be able to have a viable business. To supply anybody, you kind of have to supply everybody. That's kind of the way it is. So it's a bit of maturity required there now. So I think there's a few more questions.
Adam, quick question. I'm a cheesemaker, Sarah Furneaux from Cashel Blue Cheese.
Hello.
It's really wonderful that you're getting into food, and but my question is actually, can any of your Irish products provide product substitutes in the UK, maybe for products that you were importing from mainland Europe?
Yes, we have had this, and what I would say is, when we've done this and we've brought an Irish supplier that's done really well in Ireland and relatively small, they've gone over to the UK too fast. They haven't had their base. There's not a request in the market for their specific brand, and that is important, because it is a very different market, even though it's very close. And if it doesn't go right, it really doesn't go right. So there is that aspect. I am working towards that with a few suppliers at the minute who are putting in the back work. They're touching base with influencers in the UK. They're getting their product sampled in the UK. And that's the right way to go about it. So once I see that, it gives me confidence to then say, you know what, it mightn't be in the full 800 stores, but let's go for it for 100 stores. So I've no fear in doing it. We just have to do it right.
Okay, one last question just to wrap up.
Very quickly, Shannon here from Sunshine Juice. Is there common mistakes or like things you wouldn't want to see from, say, a producer approaching you for the first time? Is there like some advice around what not to do? Not me, because I'm great, but just
I'll go back to my earlier point that just have looked in our stores before you speak to us. I think that is a common mistake, is that the supplier mightn't have looked at the market, or they haven't looked at your specific stores. And I think, as I said, it just saves time if you've done it in advance, and I think that would be my piece of advice.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate that point. It's really about going to the retailer with your product, maybe get permission from the store manager, go down, put your product in the fixture, take a photograph of it, work out exactly where it should sit, work out what's your price position, are the other products doing promotion, what's your plan. So once you understand that, you're halfway there.
Take criticism well, because we need the product to sell on shelf, and we understand it's your baby and you've put so much work into it. But as Derek was saying, he'd go back to you and say, well, if you can just change the packaging slightly, or if it's a bit too sweet, take that advice, because we deal with a lot of products and we deal with a lot of suppliers. So I'd say just be open to criticism.
I think the key will be, for me, certainly would be know what's in your product. And I think that's unfortunately for sometimes it will fall down, is that you have people come on and when they realise, when you start entering into working with a retailer, you'll find that within what you have, there sometimes can be some banned ingredients within an ingredient. And it's knowing where your ingredients are coming from. And then it's because that can be a challenge, and it can be a hard pill to swallow as you come down the road and you're finding it out at a late stage. So that's probably one of the ones thing I say: know what's in your product, and then I suppose also know what you're trying to achieve and how are you different to what may be on the shelf versus what you have yourself, because how many of a particular product can you put on the shelf similar? That's generally what we see as being, look, there are 4 or 5 of those. Why do I need another? I suppose, but maybe yours is Providence. Maybe yours is clean deck ingredients. Maybe yours is it could be from the packaging point of view. And I think they're the things that can swing it from one side to another.
Yeah, very good.
Yep.
We're out of time. That was a brilliant session. Thanks, everyone.
No problem at all. Thank you.